So we are covering the theories of capital structure and the relevance, irrelevance of capital structure theories, and seeing the impact of the capital structure decisions on the overall cost of capital and the value of firm. In this direction, we have covered two theories, starting with the net income approach, which says that the usage of cheap debt in the capital structure leads to a fall in the overall cost of capital and adds to the value of the firm. So, yes, capital structure decisions are relevant to the firm. On the other hand, the the stark opposite of this theory was the NOI approach, which says that capital structure decisions are irrelevant, and at any percentage of leverage you are getting the same value of the firm, because we are capitalizing the EBIT at a specific cost of capital, and it's not the leverage, the percentage of debt in the capital structure that is making the difference. It is the EBIT which makes the difference and impacts the value of the firm. And the overall cost of capital is the rate at which we are capitalizing the EBIT. Now, in this regard, in continuation with the capital structure irrelevance approach, we come to the third important theory, which is the approach. Approach is it is actually it seconds the readings of the NOI approach, and it also says that capital structure decisions are irrelevant. Debt percentage in the capital structure or the debt equity ratio does not have an impact on the value of the firm, but it gives a behavioral justification to the NOI approach. So let's understand how this explanation is given, how this behavior is proved, and how we come to the conclusion about irrelevance of capital structure decisions, for which the assumptions of the theory are very, very important. This theory is based on some strict assumptions, starting with the first and foremost assumption that the capital markets are perfect. So there is a perfect capital market existing with no taxes. So neither are there any corporate taxes, nor you find any transaction costs. So there's no brokerage. You can easily move from one security to another security without incurring any transaction cost. Then third point, as you can see on your screens, there is symmetry of information. Every investor has access to the same information. The very, very important assumption is the next assumption that says the cost of borrowing is the same for investors as well as the companies. Can anyone tell me that does this hold in practical life? The cost of borrowing same for individual investor and corporates?
No, ma'am.
Is getting a better deal?
Ma'am, can you repeat your question?
I'm saying which of the two is getting a better deal if they are approaching a bank for loan. तो दोनों में से किसको better deal देगा बैंक?
Ma'am, companies.
Companies को, and it is very obvious it is because of the volume which they'll be borrowing from the bank. So, but this theory says that for the bank or for the market, individual investor and corporate is the same. So both of them are borrowing at the same percentage. Apart from this, as already told, there are no flotation costs. Another important assumption here is that securities are infinitely divisible. Infinitely divisible means, say, I want to buy 212.50 securities. So that is also possible that as per the funds I have, my number of securities come out to be 212.5, and yes, a perfect capital market will enable this kind of purchase, which is again not possible in the real world. And last point under the capital market, because the cost of borrowing is the same for individual and company, पर्सनल लीवरेज जो इंडिविजुअल ले रहा है बोरोइंग एंड कॉर्पोरेट लीवरेज जो कंपनी बोरोइंग कर रही है दे आर परफेक्ट सब्स्टिट्यूट्स टू ईच अदर. When we see the explanation of the MM approach in the coming slides, we'll find that this assumption is actually enabling the justification to take place. Okay, apart from this, you have same assumptions as the previous theories. Investors have same expectation, EBIT is given and constant. There is 100% dividend payout ratio. Okay, let's start with the first proposition of the the MM approach to capital structure. The first proposition states that the value of firm is independent of the capital structure. Debt equity ratio is not impacting the capital structure. It implies that value of an all equity firm will be equal to an all debt firm or debt equity firm using the assumptions of the theory. MM demonstrates that an arbitrage opportunity forces the values to converge. So, how is the behavioral justification given? It is given through the arbitrage process. Arbitrage, what is arbitrage? Can you please tell me
When the price of the same thing is not equal.
where it is not equal? Further elaboration, yes. Anyone
Yes, ma'am.
else
I
can
have given a
add?
very vague idea. For example, in the options or the futures market,
Okay,
when the price of the stock is somewhat higher than the
मतलब
options contract on
ऑप्शंस
the.
आप ऑप्शंस को स्पॉट मार्केट से कर रहे हो कंपेयर.
Yes, ma'am. Because in the options you have to get.
ऑब्वियसली अमन यही होता है ना टाइम पीरियड क्योंकि दोनों का डिफरेंट है तो वो एक्चुअल में आर्बिट्राज ट्रू सेंस में हम नहीं बोल सकते क्योंकि टाइम पीरियड का वेरिएशन होता है तो वहां पे और जो आपको एडेड वो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी मिलती है फ्यूचर्स और ऑप्शंस में जो एडवांटेज मिल रहा है उस वजह से प्राइसेस में डिफरेंस होता ही होता है. A better example would be say the same stock, Tata Power, having a different price in NSE and having a slightly lower price in BSC. तो वो वहां पर आर्बिट्राज अपॉर्चुनिटी होती है तो जनरली दिस हैपेंस फॉर अ फ्यू सेकेंड्स और फ्यू मिनट्स एंड very trained or experienced brokers are able to take out profit from these options. But yes, these options exist in the market. Say same share जो टाटा पावर का शेयर है 245 पे मिल रहा है एनएससी में और थोड़े टाइम पीरियड के लिए वी सी दैट द प्राइस ऑफ द शेयर इन बीएससी इज 239.50. So this will be an arbitrage opportunity. Okay, and to explain simply, arbitrage is when the price of the same commodity, product, share, whatever asset you are talking about is different in two markets. So what happens is that people buy from the cheaper market, an arbitrager, not people exactly, but an arbitrager, anyone who wants to take advantage of this situation will buy from the lower priced market and will sell in the higher priced market, in the overvalued market. So, like I purchase some products from a wholesale market, like from Chandni Chowk, I purchased some fabric and then I am selling it at a retail outlet. So that would give me some arbitrage profit. Now, in the approach in financial markets, this approach says that if there are two firms which are, say, alike in all respects, but they are differing in their capital structure. Say one is an all equity firm, another is a debt equity firm. Ultimately, their values will converge because people will move from overvalued firms to undervalued firms. तो उस वजह से डिमांड और सप्लाई का प्रेशर होता है, जहां पे आप शेयर सेल कर रहे हो, जिस कंपनी के शेयर सेल कर रहे हो उस पर सेलिंग प्रेशर हो जाएगा, उसका प्राइस कम हो जाएगा। जिस कंपनी के शेयर्स आप बाय कर रहे हो वहां पर डिमांड प्रेशर होगा और उस कंपनी के शेयर्स इंक्रीज कर जाएंगे। आर्बिट्राज अपॉर्चुनिटी तब एंड कर जाती है व्हेन प्राइसेस ऑफ बोथ these companies come to a common level. So how does that happen? Let's start with an example. With the example, I will explain you the arbitrage process. So please pay attention, everyone. Okay, so let's start from an example. This is an example from your book. So there are two firms, L and U. For simplicity, L is a levered firm and U is an unlevered firm. L, which is a levered firm, has 10% of debentures, 50 lakh rupees. On the other hand, U Limited is an unlevered firm. Okay, so our levered firm is L Limited and U Limited is our unlevered firm. Okay. Both the firms have the same EBIT of rupees 15 lakh and equity capitalization rate, that is the cost of equity, is also the same. What you see is that the firms are alike in all respects. The only difference is coming in the capital structure. This is an all equity firm, 100% equity, and 1 CR is the capital. On the other hand, this is debt equity, 0.50 50-50 है ratio, जो weightage है, and 50 lakhs of debt and 50 lakhs of equity. Let's start with the calculation of the overall cost of capital for both the firms, their value. So we start with the normal income statement. From the EBIT given, we first calculate the value of both the firms. There are no taxes. Okay, so you have a 10% debt for levered firm Since no taxes, this is basically the net income or earnings available to equity shareholders. So we calculate the value of equity as NI by KE, and we get the value as the 50 lakh rupees for the levered firm. For the unlevered firm, this will be 75 lakh rupees. Value. So this is 1 CR and this is 75 lakh rupees. What do you find here is that the levered firm has a higher value than the unlevered firm, and therefore the cost of capital will be lower for the levered firm. So if you calculate, you will find that for the levered firm, this cost of capital is coming to 15%, while for the unlevered firm, it is 20%. This is step one in the MM theory, that you locate the arbitrage opportunity. You find that two firms which are alike in all respects, but when we calculate the value, alike in all respects but differing in their capital structure, so when we calculate the value initially, then we, in this case, we are finding that the value of levered firm is higher than the value of unlevered firm, and therefore the cost of capital is also varying. We move to the next step in the arbitrage process in the MM theory. So we now take, we suppose an investor, there is an investor. So let's suppose an investor, say Mr. A, who is having 10% holding in the higher valued firm, so which is L Limited. Okay, so Mr. A has 10% holding in the higher valued firm, and now he wants to make profit from the arbitrage opportunity available in the market. Now, this means that Mr. A 10% holding in the levered firm means that he has how much uh, equity? He has equity holding, इक्विटी जो टोटल आपकी 50 लाख रुपीस की है, उसमें से 5 लाख रुपीस की जो इक्विटी है, he is holding 10% equity share capital. Also, class, from these 5 lakh shares, how much is Mr. A earning? 20% का रिटर्न है इक्विटी पे, जब 10% की इक्विटी है तो जो इनकम है, ईबीआईटी है, उसका भी जो 10% है, दैट वुड बी द रिटर्न टू मिस्टर ए on his investment. He is earning rupees 1 lakh. Out of the 10 lakh of total earnings of the levered firm, he has a claim to 10% of earnings, which is rupees 1 lakh. Okay. Now, Mr. A, if there's any question till here, you can ask. Now, Mr. A wants to increase his earnings and he decides that he will move from levered firm to unlevered firm. He sells his holding in the levered firm and he wants to move to the unlevered firm but with the same percentage of holding. तो इसका मतलब है कि अब अनलीवर्ड फर्म में अगर 10% होल्डिंग चाहिए मिस्टर ए को तो ही नीड्स हाउ मच he needs 10% of equity, which is 7,50,000. The investment required in U Limited to become a 10% holder will be 7,50,000, but by selling his equity here for 5 lakh, he is still falling short of 2,50,000. Become a 10%, I repeat, to become a 10% shareholder in the lower valued unlevered firm, Mr. A sells his equity holding. He gets 5 lakh rupees, but 10% holding for U Limited requires an amount of 7,50,000 and hence Mr. A is falling short of 2,50,000. So what
Excuse me,
yes, Pranav?
मैम जो टोटल इक्विटी अनलिवर्ड फर्म में है वो 1 करोड़ है, तो फिर 10 लाख रुपीज की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं जनरेट होगी यहाँ पे?
टोटल इक्विटी 1 करोड़ का है। जो अभी मार्केट वैल्यू ऑफ इक्विटी है बेटा वो 75 लाख है, वो हमने कैलकुलेट करी है।
मैम मार्केट वैल्यू, मैम
हाँ
शेयर
तो
होल्डर को डिसाइड, यस मैम।
हाँ जो ई है अभी हम वो देखेंगे ना। अभी जब आपने स्टार्ट करा था वो 1 CR के कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर से करा था, पर करंटली जो मार्केट वैल्यू है इक्विटी की फॉर अनलीवर्ड फर्म दैट इज 75 लाख रुपीज।
मैम और एक चीज मैम, ये 20% जैसे यहाँ पर हमने करा है कि 5 लाख का 20% 10 लाख था,
1 लाख
ये जो 20% से हमने निकाला है, मतलब 80%
हाँ
ऐड करके, ये कौन से तरीके से होता है? मतलब सभी
बेटा
मेथड्स
ये
में ये चीज
कॉस्ट
यूज
ऑफ
होती है?
जो फर्म के लिए कॉस्ट है, सिंपल आप सोचो जो फर्म के लिए कॉस्ट है वो शेयर होल्डर के लिए क्या है, उसका रिटर्न है।
यस।
हाँ तो आप अगर कंपनी को कॉस्ट पड़ी है 20% तो आपको अपनी इक्विटी पे 20% रिटर्न मिल रहा है। तो 5 लाख इंटू 0.20 विल गिव यू 1 लाख। अगर ऐसे टेक्निकल लग रहा है समझने में तो ऐसे देख लो कि 10% अगर शेयर्स है तो 10% ही रिटर्न मिलेगा। तो टोटल रिटर्न जब 10 लाख रुपए है तो उसका 10% 1 लाख रुपीज मिस्टर ए को मिल जाएगा।
ओके मैम।
दोनों ही तरीके से यू आर गेटिंग द सेम वैल्यू।
ओके मैम।
Okay, any other question? Okay, then let's proceed. Now, what happens is Mr. A is short of funds by 2,50,000. He will now take advantage of one of the main assumptions of the theory, that personal leverage, which is also known as homemade leverage, personal leverage का second name होता है homemade leverage, is available at the same terms and conditions as the corporate leverage. So now Mr. A will replicate the capital structure of the levered firm. he will take a personal loan of 10%. 10% रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट पे वो लोन लेंगे, पर वो क्या अमाउंट होगी लोन की? वो लोन की अमाउंट भी 10% ऑफ डेट ऑफ लीवर्ड फर्म होगी. आई रिपीट माई सेल्फ. Mr. A is falling short of 2,50,000. He will take loan. He will make a personal leverage. In making that personal leverage, he will replicate the capital structure of L Limited. So now what will be the amount of loan? इसके पास मिस्टर ए के पास 10% इक्विटी थी एल लिमिटेड की. उन्होंने 10% ही आगे यू लिमिटेड में इन्वेस्ट करा. अब वो लोन की अमाउंट भी होगी 10% ऑफ द टोटल डेट होल्डिंग ऑफ एल लिमिटेड, which means the amount of loan will be 10% of 50 lakh, that is rupees 5 lakh. So now Mr. A is making a borrowing of 10% of the debt of L Limited, that is the personal loan will be an amount equal to rupees 5 lakh. So now for Mr. A, he has own funds, that is after selling his equity, he is having 5 lakh rupees plus 10% loan है, rate of interest on loan 10% है, and that amount is again 5 lakh rupees. Now total funds with Mr. A is 10 lakh. Let's see how the advantage of leverage is coming. Option 1. Option 1 before Mr. A is कि क्योंकि वो 10% होल्डिंग ही चाहते हैं यू लिमिटेड में, तो 10% जो शेयर्स हैं, 10% शेयर्स ऑफ यू लिमिटेड 7,50,000 Mr. A इन्वेस्ट करेंगे, and the surplus funds will be 2,50,000. Okay. Now, how has this given benefit to Mr. A? Mr. A का अब return from this 10% holding. I'll move back to the capital structure. You can have a look here. जो 10% इक्विटी है मिस्टर ए के पास, अब उस पे रिटर्न होगा अगेन 0.20 या फिर 10% ऑफ टोटल इनकम मिलेगा मिस्टर ए को. दैट विल बी एन अमाउंट ऑफ रुपीज 1,50,000. So now the return on investment will be 1,50,000, but he also needs to pay the return on loan, the interest on loan. So minus interest 50,000, and now the net return is rupees 1 lakh. So class, what do you see? You see that earlier Mr. A was making a profit of 1 lakh in L Limited. In case of U Limited also, he is earning the same return of 1 lakh. What is the difference? The difference is the surplus of 2,50,000. Same funds हैं, own investment same है, but by making usage of personal leverage, now Mr. A is making the same uh, profit, he's getting the same return, but he's also holding a surplus of rupees 2,50,000. And how has this happened? He has replaced the corporate leverage with his personal leverage. So the level of risk for Mr. A is same, but now he has a surplus of 2,50,000. So this is an arbitrage opportunity. What happens is कि जैसे मिस्टर ए को फायदा हुआ है by moving from overvalued L Limited to U Limited, this will be followed by all the investors in the market. Ultimately, the shares of L Limited will fall, share price of U Limited will increase, and both the firms will come to the same value. They will converge to the same value. This is what is the behavioral justification of the MM theory. So, first thing that I want to know is that till option 1, is everything clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, rest of the class, any question? Till here, is everything clear? Okay, when I write option 1, then it means that there is another option for Mr. A. So if Mr. A believes that, okay, now I have 10 lakh rupees, he can also invest the entire amount in U Limited. So now he can purchase shares of 10 lakh rupees in U Limited. So he's not keeping surplus funds. Instead, he is investing the entire 10 lakh rupees. कितना रिटर्न है? 0.20 रिटर्न है. तो इस केस में रिटर्न क्या हो जाएगा? मिस्टर ए के पास 2 लाख रुपीस का रिटर्न हो जाएगा एट द रेट 0.20. इंटरेस्ट उतना ही है, 50,000 रुपीस. एंड नाउ अगेन you can see he's still at a better position. The net return will be 1,50,000. So either of the options, generally आप जब भी books को refer करोगे option 1 ही explain करी होती है, but in either of the cases you find that Mr. A has actually benefited from moving from the higher valued firm to the lower valued firm. This is the replication of corporate leverage with personal leverage. So you are imitating corporate leverage, making your personal leverage and earning profits. But this does not continue for long. Ultimately, if all investors start imitating this approach, the prices in both these companies will converge. This is the MM theory. And this price at which they converge will be the equilibrium point. Any questions?